Take 3 on John Wick 4. If you know what that means. Dane, we are here to review John Wick 4. And what I found interesting, right off the top before this movie ever played, was when they came out with John Wick 2, they just called it John Wick 2. Mm-hmm. And then when John Wick 3 came out, they actually had a title for it called Parabellum.
Right, which means what?
You know what that means now. It's Latin for prepare for war. So, when John Wick 4 comes out, there's no title. I'm like, where's the title?
They should have called it just Quattro or something like that, just to keep it up in the...
Quadrophenia.
I don't know. I agree with you. They seem like they kind of like lost their way a little bit on some of this movie, but I'm giving myself away here.
Oh, yeah, let's not do that. But you know what? If you are new to the Cult Lords channel, here to see our John Wick review, please go down and hit subscribe. Always looking for new subscribers. We put out a movie review every week.
Smash land on that button,
Trailer reviews every day after that. We also do music, and we do series reviews. Like last one we did was The Last of Us, so go check that out. And then we do unboxings and other cool comic stuff. So, yeah, you get a lot when you subscribe to us. All you have to do is hit the button. That easy.
It's easy.
Yeah, then hit the like button, and then tell us in the comments, what did you think of John Wick? Now, if you haven't seen John Wick 4, warning.
Where have you been?
We're about to go into spoiler territory. So we have warned you. Red alert that we're going to go into spoilers.
Rip out your red shirts.
Yes. So if you haven't seen it, why don't you pause this, take a stroll down to your local AMC, Cinemark, whatever theater, and watch the movie, then come back, and then tell us what you think. So, all right, you have been warned.
You've been warned.
All right, so Dane.
Yes.
John Wick 4.
Yes, felt right to have a Templeton's Rye.
Yeah. Oh, is that what we're having?
Yes, Templeton's Rye. Yum, yum, yum. 6 year. It's a tasty beverage.
Yeah.
Definitely better, I think, with a little bit of water because it's pretty harsh.
Yeah, it is.
But,
it is. I put a little ice in it.
Yeah,
here.
a little or water. But it's 45.6. I can't quite read it. I think it's 45% alcohol. 45.1. I know. Well, so can you read what that says?
Yep, 45.75.
45.75. So age 6 years.
Yep.
It's different than their normal stuff. Have you ever had the other Templeton Rye? It's more sweet.
Yeah.
This one is obviously, they must be, I don't know what exactly they're doing with it, but...
Okay. Well, cheers to the high table that we get to sit at.
Yes.
We are our own entry.
We are at the...
Don't make me show you my scar here of how I get to sit here at the high table.
Mine's on my tushy.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it secret, okay?
I put mine on my tushy.
I don't want to share what family I'm in. So. All right. So, Dane,
yes.
We usually like to start this off by giving the Cult Lords ratings because every industry insider wants to know what the Cult Lords think about this movie.
Yes.
What we think about this movie.
That's right.
But before we do, I always like to share the Rotten Tomato scores. Now, have you taken a peek at these?
Tomatoes. No, I have not.
Okay.
I always hide my eyes, avert my eyes.
All right. So if you were to take a guess, what do you think the critics gave John Wick?
I'm going to go 8.3.
So an 83% is what you're saying. Okay, and then what do you think the audience gave?
I think it was a 9.5.
A 95%.
Yes,
in other
95%.
Words. That's how they do their ratings over there. Well...
How correct was I?
The critics gave it a 94%.
Oh, I was low. Critics, what happened? You're usually the low guys.
And then the audience gave it a 94%.
Ah, wow.
They're on the same page.
I was going to say, have we ever seen that before? Where they were so right on?
Well, I've seen them like a couple of points divergent of each other, but never like right on.
Never right on. Because I was assuming the critics were going to look harshly on something, so they were going to go low. Because we traditionally, almost every single time we've reviewed something, the critics are always either they loved it or they hated it, and it's been much lower. So, interesting.
So they loved it.
Yeah.
Audience loved it. Mm-hmm. Now, what do the Cult Lords think
The more important scores.
Yes.
Finally, they can be released to the general public. We've had these things under lock and key for weeks. 2 weeks at minimum.
We've just had these delivered by Deloitte and Touche.
Deloitte and Touche. Yeah. He's right off camera over here. You can't quite see him.
Yeah,
so let me make sure.
All right.
He brought it in under lock and key.
All right. So on the count of three.
Uno. Dos.
Three.
Well, look at that. Wickalicious. You have to read mine.
Trying to burn the candle at both ends. Okay. All
well,
right.
I actually, it's funny because I thought I was going low.
Yeah.
But obviously...
Well, there's a couple little criticisms I have, but it was a great ending to the series.
Yes.
Should we call it that or not? I mean, they're going to have some spin-offs, but is it the end of John Wick?
Well, and there's your main argument. Anyone who's seen this is 1, 2, 3! Wow. You're going to have to put that back in the cage.
Yeah.
The ending. We're going to just jump to that because obviously that's
Let's just jump to that and then we'll get to...
and we're done.
Yeah. And then
it's a great movie. Yeah. We're done.
Yeah.
I think he's alive still. I think they, of course, beat the crap out of him in any way possible, which, a couple of our faithful commenters also noticed. How many times can you get hit by a car, going and you're knocked flat on the ground?
Or fall from a 4-story building, hit a cement awning with your back, flip, land on the ground, and then just go, that would break bones. That would
and
put
he's
you
still
unconscious.
able to full on fight up those stairs with all those other guys and everything.
But is he dead?
No, I don't think he is.
So I think he is in stasis.
So in cryogenic stasis.
If they don't decide to ever make another John Wick movie, it's perfect. He's dead.
Right.
If they do want to make another John Wick movie, then he's alive.
Yeah, they found the perfect, exit for the character or entrance for the character in the next movie.
And
because you saw him slouch, and then you saw a grave, but you never really saw him die.
No,
so you're kind of like.
And then when was it that guy's name? Ian,
the concierge.
The hotel.
Oh, he's the
owner.
manager.
Yeah,
he's the manager,
Ian McShane, Winston, and the Bowery King, Lawrence Fishburne, when they're paying their respects, they're doing it in a kind of a cheeky way. They don't look that sad,
right?
Do they?
No.
They talk about
what a great life he had.
Yeah,
and then it was almost like the scene that you didn't see was what a great life he had. Wink.
Yeah.
That was the part they weren't doing.
Yeah. So, all right, but let's rewind and talk about.
We're not done.
Yeah, how we got there. So, first of all, what did you like about this movie, and then, what parts did you really like, and then did you have any problems with the movie other than him always being able to rebound like he's plastic?
Right.
So,
well, I mean, at first they kind of did the classic John Wick intro with a lot of things. So I thought that was really good, the way they intro thing. And then all of a sudden he kind of disappeared for a while, when he went to Japan. And then suddenly he was not in any fight. It was all the other people fighting. And so this movie became a big, let me introduce all these other characters and give them some screen time.
So this made no sense to me, this movie, in this sense. So he goes out to the desert, after the little opening of him, boom, hitting the thing, and then Lawrence Fishburne goes, "Are you ready to get back into it?" And he's like, "Yeah."
42 regular. That's my size, by the way. If I need to trim down.
All right, so then he's off in the desert, and it's not the same guy that was. The curator. It's like the elder, I think is his title.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
That's out there. So he goes out. He says, "I'm going to declare war on the High Table." He shoots him. Kills him. So then, if he's going to
Which is a great send-off for the movie, by the way, right?
All right, so if he's going to go to war on the High Table, why does he show up at the hotel in Japan? The hotel owner for, the hotel in Japan, he doesn't even know why he's there. He tells his daughter,
Continental in Japan.
Yeah, another Continental. He's like, I don't understand why he's here, but let's go talk to him because you know who that is. That is John Wick.
It's my buddy.
Right. So, is John Wick there to ask for resources to take down the High Table? Is John Wick there to ask for some men or some support? No.
And of course, the guy's daughter's like, "What the hell is he doing here?"
Yeah. John Wick is just there for no reason, and it's like he's not putting any strategy together to go after the High Table.
Right.
He's just there.
He became a very passive character all of a sudden.
And of course, the High Table knows he's there.
Right.
Because they send some men in, a lot of men. I mean, like hundreds of men. First of all, you think it's like maybe 20 men and 30 men.
And all of a sudden, a whole other like SWAT team shows up.
I mean, it's like, and then of course they bring in Donnie Yen. Yeah. I think the only reason why they show this is to have this showdown between like Donnie Yen and the guy who plays the caretaker for the hotel.
Oh, that famous Japanese actor who's
Hiroyuki Sanada.
That guy's in everything these days.
His name in the show is Shimazu. Wow. So you have this showdown between Kane, which is Donnie Yen, and Shimazu, which then he kills Shimazu.
And the daughter, which I think is Akira. I mean, you know, like that. And to where you're going with this, it's like they introduce all these other characters, give them all this screen time, and you're like, "Where's John Wick?"
Yeah.
In this whole thing. I mean, come on.
Well,
we're here for John Wick. We're not here for all these other characters.
Yeah, but I mean, it's gonna have other characters in it. But so you have Donnie Yen, who stole the show in this, in my opinion. He comes in. He's playing a blind guy, just like he did in Rogue One. Remember,
I know.
He was a Jedi.
Yeah, I just coincidentally saw. I forgot he was in that. And
blind Jedi.
And then they're like, "Wait a minute, what's up with this? Is this his new career playing blind guys?" And
I don't know.
You heard about the Colbert thing where he was interviewing him, and Colbert's talking to him about his characters because obviously they're pushing this when it came out. And Colbert's like, "Yeah, so it must have been really cool." Or did you? Or what did he say? He said something like, "Did you get that the name Kane has something to do with your character?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, cane. Like, a blind person has a cane. And Donnie Yen, you could just tell, was like, oh. Somebody didn't tell him that that's what the character's name was. Kane.
Right.
So that was kind of interesting. But still, I agree with you. He really stole the show. I mean, they easily could make another movie, which is the next one, probably.
I also saw another, like, behind-the-scenes Easter egg, like, thing for John Wick 4. And they actually referred to Kane as being more like Cain and Abel. And so I guess Kane had a great relationship with John Wick, and he called him brother.
Yeah.
But Cain killed his brother Abel, right? So in the Bible.
Oh yeah, right.
Right. So now Cain is tasked to kill his brother.
Oh.
John Wick.
Well, so this name works on multiple levels.
It works on multiple levels.
There's so many different things. I didn't even pick up on that one. I mean, because you're right.
I didn't pick up on that either until I watched this video.
They referenced him calling him brother all the time, over and over again. Yeah. And like now in hindsight, it's like I'm going lower on my score. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't. Yeah. So you got blind Kane, you got Cain and Abel.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I don't know what. Then he fights with a cane half the time. So I don't know.
But he uses other gadgets too. He like puts all these like. Motion detectors that have doorbells on them, right? And people walk by and it's like, bling, bling.
And I will say, that was probably the most realistic thing about his fighting. Because most of the time you're like, come on. I mean, how is this guy knows where people are aiming guns?
Yeah.
There's no way.
Right.
So that at least was a little like, all right, we'll be realistic with him, and he's clever, and then he sets this up, and then he just kind of sits on the side waiting. Because, I mean, that guy was like... half the time people are shooting arrows at him from 30 feet away. And I know you can kind of hear it, but I don't think you can move that fast.
Well, I thought at the final showdown with John Wick, what's to stop John Wick from crouching and shooting?
Right.
Right? Because if he can't see him and he's like, all right, his chest is going to be about this height, and John Wick is crouching, you know what I mean, and shooting. Unless is that dishonorable? And the way that, remember, like in that final show, we're like jumping back and forth, and I apologize. We're in that final showdown where they have the gun duel. He's going over rocks with his feet, and I'm thinking, oh, he's going to use this to his advantage because he's going to make some sort of sound with rocks over here, and make like Donnie Yen think he's standing over here.
Yeah. It's what you would naturally think.
Yeah.
But then John is very honorable.
Yeah.
I think that's the point. And he realizes...
It was just like not very climatic there.
And never mind the fact that we haven't even talked about the bad guy in the whole movie. The
Marquis.
The Marquis.
Gets
a blind guy to play his number one and aim the bullet. Like, how the hell does he even know where to hit? I mean, I'm sorry. Even though, when you're walking away from something, 90% of the time, there's no way you're going to turn around and be directly in the correct direction. Right. I mean, you got to have an amazing GPS.
Well, let's talk about the things we loved about this movie first. So at least I loved all of the action. I mean, and the action they went from location to location to location just to have action. So first you have action in Japan. Then we go to Berlin, where they go and see that fat bastard guy playing the cards.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like,
well, John doesn't even go. It's the woman that goes, right?
No, he goes there. He goes and he plays cards.
That's right. He goes to the woman first.
He goes to the woman
Russian.
first.
Yeah.
And he becomes,
and then he joins their family.
Yeah, he joins their family, but the thing is, you got to go kill this guy first.
The fat bastard.
Right.
It was funny because he really looked like fat bastard.
Yeah. So they go and they have a huge fight sequence there in Berlin. Have another nightclub scene there.
Right.
Then
gotta get the clubs in.
Then all of a sudden you're in France and you're at the Arch de Triomphe, right? And you're going in the circles, and you're having a car chase and then a battle. And then you have the staircase going up. You have the battles. And I mean, that staircase battle
Sacre-Cœur,
was probably like 20 minutes alone. Just that.
Oh, I know.
That staircase battle.
And unfortunately, that's when it kind of got unrealistic. Because he was so beaten by that. I know.
It's unrealistic.
Well, but there's a level that you have to say, and then all of a sudden it went to the next level, and you're like, all right, I could have forgiven like everything else. But suddenly, this guy's cutting the crap beat out of him up to this point, and somehow he can climb like 30, or no, I don't know what, 300 stairs, battling, and then...
Well, but, he makes it all the way up
himself,
and then he is knocked all the way down.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then what happens is down there, he now gets the help of Donnie Yen and then the tracker guy. Remember the tracker with the dog?
Yeah, because he saved the dog.
Yeah. So now they're going to help him get to the top.
I was disappointed that John didn't have his dog with him, in that sense. But they always have to bring a dog back. Obviously, there's and I thought the tracker guy was cool.
Yeah.
John saves his dog, and he's like, oh, okay.
There was a sense, though, where it's funny because... Let's talk about the character of the tracker. When he is first introduced, I think he's in the hotel in Tokyo. He's tracked John down there, and so he's involved there. But like John gets away, right? So then he approaches the Marquis in France at the Louvre, right? And he says, "Hey, make this exclusive. Pay me this money. I'll get you John Wick."
Well, I'll tell you where he is now, because I think at that point they didn't know where he was,
So then the Marquis, and he's acting all badass and everything. But when the Marquis puts his hand on the table and
that was in the horse stables later. He came back and he said,
puts the knife through his... Suddenly that guy didn't look so tough.
He's like, what am I going to do with this now? And then except he ripped his hand out.
He said, you can pull it out.
Yeah.
And this contract's off, but if you show dedication and pull your hand out, the contract's on.
I'll give you $5 million more, wasn't it?
Or something, I don't remember.
I don't know. I mean, I know the hand heals fast, but I'm sorry. You stick this into the middle section of your hand, I don't know if you can recover from that, especially from a tracker standpoint.
Yeah.
But although, the funny thing is after he did that, which was, like the midpoint of the movie... He never seemed to have a problem with it after the fact.
Yeah.
So
he just had it all taped up and whatever.
But still.
But so that was his character.
Yeah.
I mean, so I loved all the action. In fact, one of the coolest action scenes, I think it's in the Japanese hotel, and they go to an overhead video game kind of look to it. Remember, you can see like an overhead, like high up, of him running room to room and like other people running into the rooms. You remember that? And it looked almost like you were in like Gauntlet, in the video game where you can see the whole map and room to room.
That was the scene where John had the nunchucks, right?
It was after that.
Oh, I thought it was that scene because they were looking down and John was like running from room to room and then taking people out. But you're right.
At this point he's shooting.
He's just shooting.
And
because he was at one point where he's like, bam, bam,
bam. But you saw that from a normal angle. You didn't see that overhead.
Right. Well, that one wasn't overhead. Yeah. But I thought there was... Okay, yeah. So that was the other thing about this movie. There was so much going on and so many detailed scenes. I feel like I have to watch it again.
I
just to kind of get a full...
Of course I do. You know what? So, like, I've seen every John Wick at least 3 times.
Yeah, and I rewatched them all just to watch this one.
Okay, so, and you know what? To me, the John Wick movies get better when you watch them. Because you're so, like, when the first time you see a John Wick movie, you're so sensory overload, like, with everything that's going on, right? So you're basically just getting the basics. And then when you sit down and watch it a second time, you're like, okay, now I know what's coming up. Oh, now I'm picking this up. I'm picking this up. A hint of this, a hint of that.
Right.
Then you see what's going into it, and it's like you appreciate it better.
And I agree. I mean, this is definitely the you could tell the writers, producers, and I'm assuming Keanu has some say in this.
Right.
They put so many detailed levels of things going on that there's layers that you can just keep pulling away every time. You're like, I didn't see that the first time, or I didn't pick up on that the first time. I mean, Kane is the perfect example. There's multiple things going on.
Right. So we talked about, the tracker as a character. What did you think of Bill Skarsgård as the Marquis?
Well, I liked him. I thought he did a really good job of acting like that character, but I think there was a little too much... he's a badass, and he's doing all these things, but it's like, after you just did that to the tracker, aren't you afraid the tracker's just basically going to go after you? I mean, it's like, come on. I mean,
so the problem I had with him is...
people aren't that greedy when they get
what
pissed.
makes this guy so tough that the high table has so much trust in him to deal with John Wick and put an end to this threat to the high table.
Yeah.
And you never see him fight one bit.
I know. I mean, and then stupid thing is you do at the very end when, of course, he gets killed.
But that was...
I was so
That's
minor.
after he's like, they injured him, now I'll go take the coup de grace shot.
They kind of made him the boogeyman behind the curtain the whole time, and then there was never any payoff. Like, he never really went full out against John in any form whatsoever, or anybody else.
So his personality, I could see him being a badass, but he needed to show something a little bit more to where you were like, ooh, I would fear that guy.
Right.
Like, if they had written something where at the very beginning they showed him, like, taking out some guys or doing something where he is a badass, then you're like, ooh, I respect that guy more.
Because to your point, in James Bond, whenever they show the villain, they always, like, premiere him in the movies with doing something like that. Like sword fighting. Or knife killing. Or... blowing, in Live and Let Die, blowing somebody up, or, something very clever.
When Thanos makes the Hulk afraid, when he, like, takes the Hulk, beats him, and, basically the Hulk escapes, like, to retreat, and then, the Hulk is, like, looking at the other Avengers, like, Thanos is coming, you know what I mean? And the Hulk is afraid, you knew Thanos is a badass, right? So... you didn't have to question him the rest of the way for the Avengers, right? You needed something to build on. And yes, he goes up and he shoots Charon, right? Which is the concierge, Lance Reddick's character. But it was like a wussy move, the way he did it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like made him
He's
a
like,
badass.
you're both standing here in front of me. I'm just going to shoot you.
Boom.
And do you think they rewrote that scene after he died, or was that...
No.
I guess he died like a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
So
the
movie came out.
The movie was all cut and everything and ready to debut, so that was his roles.
It seems odd that, or coincidental, I should say. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean,
sad.
They made him definitely a badass character, but they didn't demonstrate how he is a badass character. We were just supposed to assume, based on everyone else's, opinion and how they reacted around him, that he was. He didn't really do anything.
This movie was 2 hours and 49 minutes, which to me, they should have cut like 20 minutes off of this thing somehow. You know what I mean? It was a little bit too long. But if you're going to keep it that long, take 3 or 4 minutes from the hotel scene. Take 3 or 4 minutes from the Berlin scene.
Right.
Take 3 or 4 minutes from the stair scene. Now you got 9 minutes to build a backstory for this Marquis and show him doing something and making him a badass. Just a little thing. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that really was my big problem with the movie. Even though I loved it, gave it a 9.2, raved about it, can't wait to see it again, was they kick off the movie saying, I'm going after the high table, I'm going to take him out.
Right.
So where is his plan? What's he going to do?
Right.
How's he going to go find the high table? There's not one thing in there that shows him putting together a plan. Like maybe he's going to ask, the Continental Hotel owners, do you have any resources? Maybe he can go to the Bowery guy. Can I get some of your resources? Maybe he's going to call in favors, to people that owe him. I'm going after the high table. Maybe he goes to enemies of the high table. You're an enemy of the high table? How are you going to help? He doesn't put any plan together.
Right.
He's just, I'm going to kill him.
And to your point, in the end, he didn't actually do anything against the high table.
After
all that, they kick it off that way, and then all they did, he just killed a representative, but that was it.
So he suddenly transitions in the movie. His journey should be to take down the high table. Mm-hmm. Suddenly, he's like, oh no, you know what? I want to make amends with the high table. And ask for forgiveness and be off of their hit list. Well, the way you do that is you have to have family membership to sponsor you. Then you can call a duel with a marquee. And then if you beat the marquee, now you can ask the high table for forgiveness and to be off of you. So that went really fast from I'm taking out the high table to I'm going to beg for forgiveness from the high table. And then that way, they won't be on my butt.
But still, that's so un-John Wick. I'm not going to beg for forgiveness.
That's a total weird character arc that didn't seem realistic. And didn't,
I wouldn't be surprised if Keanu wasn't happy with that character arc, and they're just like, we're doing it this way.
Yeah.
This is the only way we can get you out of this.
So those are my criticisms, but guess what?
Yeah.
The movie was still so fun to watch. You laughed. I was in the theater with my parents. I think you went and saw it with your boy. Right?
Yeah.
Opening night. When John Wick falls off that 4-story building, hits that cement awning and then falls, the entire theater was laughing out loud. Like, ha ha! Like, this is ridiculous. What we're watching here.
Right.
This is total ridiculous. Cars are hitting him, in that...
He's gotten beaten so many times.
He's getting beaten so many times. And everybody else, that breaks bones, knocks him unconscious, or kills him. But for John Wick, man, the Baba Yaga... He just comes back. He's like
going.
He's like the Terminator. You know what I mean? Putting everything back together.
Well, and exactly. I mean, it seemed like now it gotten to the point where they were. We've been suspending our disbelief for up to this point, but then you're like, okay, if you're a regular human and not superhuman, how the heck are you taking this entire beating the whole time?
Right.
And it was almost like the writers, again, they got caught in the old catch-22 of we need to keep upping up the violence and the amperage of the physicality and everything, but then they were like, they crossed the line.
So
it's too much.
Dane, I don't know if you know this, but I did watch an interview behind the scenes with the writers and the producers and everything in the movie. Mm-hmm. You probably heard this a few years ago that, not only are they going to come out with a John Wick 4, they're going to come out with a John Wick 5. And they're going to film them back to back. And
Keanu said, I'll just keep doing them as long as they keep writing them.
Well, so what happened was they had scripts for 4 and script for 5. Mm-hmm. And then as they get on the set and they start filming, and they're talking with Keanu late at night, and they're talking with a studio, it comes down to you know what? Instead of filming another movie right after this back to back, let's just end it in one and combine the scripts for 2, because there was stuff that they combined out of script 5 and put it in 4.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why this became longer, because they didn't intend this to be a 3-hour movie. But when they decided to go from 4 and 5 to just 4 and end it, I think they combined 2 scripts, and because they did that, that's where I think you kind of have some of this wishy-washiness that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
I can see that. I mean, definitely. And I mean, do you think any of that was prompted by Keanu? Like, he's like, look, dudes, I've done this 4 times. I need to do something else. Or
well, what
do you
happened?
think they wanted to? The studio came in and said, you know what? We got the ballerina.
Right.
We got the Donnie Yen stuff. We need to create some more.
I think what happened was when they started filming 4, and like Keanu knew, like, oh, this is gonna go like 4 or 5 months, and then we're gonna film another one right after this. He kind of wanted a break, and,
really?
and yeah, he didn't want to like film back to back.
Oh,
so
okay.
then that's when suddenly this idea came. Hey, let's just kind of combine
introduce
the two,
all these other characters.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No. I mean, we both gave him pretty high scores here. 9.3 for me and 9.2. 9.2 for me and 9.4 for you.
No. 9.3 for you. 9.2 for me.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't bad, but we're looking at it from a very minute lens of 1, 2, 3 leading to 4, and you had a very high bar in those first 3 movies that they needed to achieve, and so now we're nitpicking, obviously.
Well, we're nitpicking, and we're being critics, and we're being critical of what we thought could have made this even better.
That's right.
Because, if this is the last one we get, it could have been a little bit better. They could have spent less time with certain things and then more time with other things like we've discussed.
And we were lower than the actual critics.
I know, and the audience, but yet we loved it, right?
Right.
But we're being a little critical. So, but we're still giving it an A-. You know what I mean? So yeah, I enjoyed it. I can't wait for this to come out on Blu-ray. I'll be buying it. I'll be watching it. I'll probably watch it a few more times and pick up things that I didn't pick up.
Right. I mean, and they obviously put the effort in again with the fight scenes and just going to different locations. I mean, they could have honestly filmed this entire thing in New York.
Right.
I mean,
so
they at least put the effort in.
We talked about the spin-offs now.
Right.
So there's supposed to be there's not been announced a spin-off with Donnie Yen's daughter. That hasn't been announced. So, and if you're wondering what we're talking about the end scene credit.
The end credit.
Or the end credit scene. Where it looks like the daughter of
the Japanese
Shimazu or whatever is going to go after
Kane.
So you don't know if she kills him or not. She just, see is...
And traditionally, the next movie kicks off exactly where the end is.
Right.
So
the next movie is going to be Ana de Armas, and it's going to have John Wick, or Keanu Reeves, making a cameo role in The Ballerina, and they've started filming that.
Was she in... the whole thing about The Ballerina kind of confused me, because it wasn't in this movie. Right?
No, it's supposed to happen between John Wick 3 and John Wick 4.
So this is like a reference to the comic book or something? That they like, you know what I mean?
Dude, there's no... there's comic books,
right,
but it's just of the movie. There's no extended world comic book.
Okay, so they just basically said, we're creating another character, calling it the Ballerina, and we're throwing it in the mix.
Yeah, if you remember 3, remember he goes into the Russian, ballet thing in New York, and it's Angelica Houston, I think, runs the ballet, right? And she's talking about her ballerinas.
Oh, so it's one of those?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then she trains them ballet, but I think a couple of them become assassins, too. Because,
right.
So,
oh, okay, that's what that kept.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So that's one spinoff. The other spinoff, they said, is going to be a TV series called The Continental.
Oh,
and it's going to be in the 1970s, around Winston, a younger Winston.
Ooh, that should be fun, actually.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. I didn't know they were going back to the 70s.
To the 70s.
70s are making a comeback!
Yeah. Dynamite! So, if Winston is, say, 70 now, he's going to be, in his 30s, right? In the 70s.
Right.
So he is going to, this is him establishing the Continental in New York.
And I assume they're going to bring the Lance Riddick, the guy that died. Isn't that his name? They're going to have a younger version of him,
Maybe it shows how he...
Right, how they merged or they joined
He
together.
brings on Karen and develops a relationship.
Because, that is another thing about the whole John Wick enterprise in general, is that they did a really good job of establishing, friendships of characters and how, people are there's like a history. There's
Right.
a legacy that's been carried over from the first, and because when you came into that first one, you're like, oh, there's a history here.
Yeah.
It's not just him being an assassin. There's a whole so you were constantly like, well, what's going on, right? I mean,
Right.
there's a Continental, there's a hotel where it's neutral ground. I
Yeah.
mean, who established that?
Maybe it shows kind of the establishment.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was reading a little bit more. The High Table has a whole lot more power in this world, in the world of John Wick than you think. So they actually help. I've always wondered, how come in every John Wick movie, you could be fighting in New York, you could be fighting in France, you never see the police involved. The police never show up. There's all this gunfighting in Central Park, and people are dying on the subways, and you never see the police show up.
Actually,
right?
and to your point, didn't he steal a police horse in John Wick 3?
No, it was just a horse.
It was one of the carriages for the Central Park. Yeah.
Right. But he's going down,
with the motorcycles going after him.
You go after him, he's shooting, and you never see police.
That's true.
Well, so...
They conveniently left them out.
And not in one episode does the police get involved. The police actually come one time, because when he killed people at his house, some people called saying that there was some noise.
His New Jersey buddies.
And his buddy walks up to the door and looks and sees dead people. Says, "Hey, John.
Back in the game?
Back in the game? Getting a lot of calls. All right, well, I'll let you take care of it." Leaves. So the High Table has a lot of control over, police around the world.
Yeah.
Is what I read. So, kind of interesting.
Well, that explains a lot. Because you're right, I completely forgot. In that first movie, they established that he has a relationship to the local constables. And then after that, you never see him again.
Yeah.
So
That's why I think a 70s version of the Continental with a young Winston building up, the Continental in New York. You're going to see assassins from the 70s.
Yeah.
Maybe get Lee Majors in there and stuff, you know what I mean? Or,
maybe Blade. 19's Blade.
Oh, no. Let's keep the world separate, okay? Well, this is the John Wick world.
The John Wick world.
So, you get, I don't know.
Lee Majors.
Maybe you get Elvis as a secret agent, like the
could be.
Netflix show. But anyways, what would be cool is, because you won't get John Wick because he's probably 10 years old.
At this point.
He's 10, 12 years old in the 70s. So.
Right.
So, yeah.
Actually, he's the same age as me.
Yeah.
He's 56.
56? Ooh, you just revealed that.
I know. Technically, I'm not
56 and 39.
Close.
So. Yeah. All right, well.
In December.
So, I loved it. You loved it. We had some issues, but we loved it.
Yes.
It's John Wick. And you know what? You want to see more movies coming out of Hollywood. Like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like Top Gun. You know what I mean?
Right.
That it's just about the action. It's just about the story. And it's just fun for everybody in the theater.
And one thing that was interesting about this one, because we just saw Dungeons and Dragons, which will be a future review, but they didn't do the actors talking to the audience about, hey, you should all come. Remember they did that? Where all the cast members came in and talked to the audience and said, this is how you should see a movie in the movie theater and all that. Yeah. They didn't do that with John Wick.
No.
He was probably like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it was Donnie Yen, Keanu Reeves, the Tracker guy, Skarsgård, and what's his name? We didn't even talk about Clancy, by the way.
Yeah.
All talking to the audience, you should come see movies.
Yeah, the way it's supposed to be.
The way it's supposed to be.
When you see me put a body count out there of 2,000 people, and I killed 2,000 people in the movie, you should see it in the theater. Not at home on your couch.
Full rumbling in the jungle with seats. And the Clancy guy, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, right? He's in the Highlander. He's the bad guy.
Well, he's also the head prison guard in Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, there you go.
So
this guy's been around. He plays these very key parts.
Yeah, and he does a lot of voiceover for animation.
Oh, cool.
All right, so we told you what we think. I want to hear what the Cult Lords viewers think. Make sure to go down, hit subscribe, like, and tell us in the comments what you thought. Did you have any qualms about John Wick 4? Just plain John Wick 4? Did you want an extra title to that? Something in Latin, of course, El Fine, you know what I mean? Of course, you couldn't put that.
Okay.
Right?
Effine?
Yeah, the
that?
finish.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know Latin, by the way.
Okay.
I took French.
Okay.
You took Latin?
No. But I'm just making that shit up.
That.
No, I think
Quid pro quo.
I know,
quid pro quo.
Yeah, I know
and,
fine in Latin is finish. I put in L, which is probably like Spanish. So I don't know. All right. Yeah, tell us what you guys think. And Dane.
Let's El Finito this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know what peace is.
Yeah.
Pays out.